We are having a Black men's mental health movement. Have y'all picked up on that? The last couple weeks, I feel like it's evolving. It's starting to bubble over, and we're seeing a lot more Black men be honest about where they are mentally, vulnerability, healing from trauma, all from their own narrative. Okay. And so I really want to talk about this Breakfast Club interview because I think it sheds a light on people crying out for help, people suffering in silence, and the stigma is breaking. And we don't talk a lot about schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So I really want to watch this, a clip from the Breakfast Club. Let's all, tap in. Where you watching from? I'm Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist who loves talking about pop culture, mental health, all the things. Okay. I like all the things mental health. So when I saw this, last week when Charlemagne was talking about Gucci's book coming out, I'm like, "Oh, he gonna do an interview. I know he gonna do an interview, so Imma just wait because I know I wanna buy the book." Actually, I wanna read the book episodes. He's on the show promoting his book episodes, really talking about the different mental health things he's gone through, having a supportive partner, and oftentimes we don't hear from the partner. We see the episodes, we see the chaos, but we often don't see how it affects the partner watching their significant other go through the different mental health crises. Okay, so let's tap in, hit that like, subscribe, stay for a little bit. Let me know what you think about this interview, and let's get into it.
Like just trying to protect the business that you guys have built
I
while
have a
he's
system.
personally.
I take his apps off his phone. First thing I do, I delete Instagram. I delete everything. Even if I got to change his password, I'm changing it because I don't need the public to know he's having an episode. You realize you'd never know about any other episodes since September 13th because I control that. Because you're not going on Instagram, you're not going on Twitter, it's deleted. And I just control everything at home. And now, before the episodes come, I catch it.
Mm.
So that's why he hasn't had another one. And how you catch that is he doesn't speak to you. He wants to be left alone. He don't eat. He does not sleep. Text messages, there's a period after each word. And I'm like, you're going through an episode. You're sick. No, I'm not. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Why do you think that? You're not speaking to me. Well, there's nothing to talk about. I said, well, that's not how you speak to your wife. And I'm like, you're sick. And we snap out of it right then.
Wow. We heard Kim this week say how Kanye just used to give away cars and stuff, and he would go through episodes.
So let's pause this for a second. Now, some of y'all are going to come in and watch this and think, why is she talking for him? Okay. Why is she controlling him? Why is he put on this system that she has in place? Because I know it's going to be some of y'all. Okay. But the thing is that we're seeing here is somebody who really cares about him and wants to protect him. And is seeing a person past the behaviors, past the mental health, and sees them as an individual. Sometimes in relationships, we get caught up in seeing our partner's behaviors, the acts, the things we don't like, so much so that it blinds us just from seeing them. And I think his wife actually sees him. And so they open up and talk about him living with schizophrenia. We hear about depression, we hear about anxiety, a little bit of OCD, bipolar disorder, living on the spectrum. But how often do we hear people talk about living with schizophrenia? Not only that, y'all, how often do we hear men talk about it? Okay. And let's add another layer, Black men talking about it. We don't. We don't. Because there's so much shame, embarrassment. What will people think about me? Will they turn their backs on me? Will they be fearful to be around me? Because there's so much stuff that we've seen, on TV, the TV rhetoric about bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. Those things keep people trapped. They keep people isolated. Because everybody thinks, oh, you over there talking to yourself. You might hurt me, you might hurt somebody else. But Gucci is living proof that you can be living with something and it does not have to define you. Okay? It does not have to define you as a person. And he talks about throughout this interview And what I see is a person who is healing. I want to say healed. Because I think in some ways, he has healed from a lot of the stuff, the shenanigans that we have seen him do, go through, witnessed. But he's still a work in progress. Okay. And he talks about crying out for help, doing things like getting that ice cream cone tattooed on his face. Some people thought it was marketing, but it was really a cry for help. And I just wonder how many men out here are watching this and seeing themselves, the behaviors, the things that they do, crying out for help. You know, intimacy, having different partners, switching jobs. How many of them do not know that they have bipolar disorder? That is a manic episode you're going through. Engaging in promiscuous behavior, excessive spending, having high highs, low lows, going off with no sleep but still feeling like you're Superman. But maybe it's just that, oh, he just moody. He'll come out of it. But really it's something deeper. But because of the stigma and so many different things, you might not know until you're old or older. I shouldn't say old, older. You get diagnosed or you start to put two and two together like that year when I went through such and such. Now that I'm in therapy, now that I'm learning, and my therapist is pointing things out to me, I wasn't just depressed. I was also manic. I was also going through some things that people didn't see. They just chucked it off. Oh, it's just Joe being Joe. Okay, Joe being Joe. But Gucci has gotten to a point where he has a support system, and that support system is his wife. And I remember when they first were together and getting married, there was so much negative rhetoric about her wanting his money. In a lot of ways, she saved him. And I remember it was around the time of the clone era. And he discusses the clone era and how he hates when people, I don't know if he said, hey, I think he said it frustrates and annoys him when people refer to him as a clone. Because I clocked it back to, oh, that's when you started to get sober. That is probably when you really started doing the work and clean your insides out. But people were so used to that other version of you that, oh, that can't be the Gucci that we know before he went into jail, before he was in jail doing all that stuff. But it was. But people get so used to a version of you that when you start to do the work, they don't recognize you. And it must be somebody else. That can't be the person that we know because they're used to the old you, the old behaviors. And all it takes is somebody sometimes investing in you as a person past the behaviors. Because this interview also reminded me of some things. Like this could have been a Krishan and Blueface situation where one of them was like, you know what? I see that Krishan is a problem. I see that something's going on there. But instead, it was just two toxic people, the media feeding into it, and nobody around them saying, you know what? No more liquor. Let's get you help. Let's do something. Because I feel like Krishan could be in the same situation where we could genuinely see her going on a healing journey with the right support. But oftentimes people don't have the no people around them. They have the yes people, the people who make money off of them, the people who are like, nah, keep drinking. You're not taking care of your baby? Okay. It shows you how having that support system in your life really makes a difference. And hearing her narrative of what it's like to be a partner to somebody who has mental health issues in episodes. In some ways, I enjoyed hearing her, but other ways, I was sad. Because I feel like a part of her life has kind of been stolen by his mental health. And I also was like, they asked her, do you have a therapist? And she said, no, I am the therapist. You need to get your own help and support. You cannot be the mom, the wife, the counselor, the cleanup lady, as she referred to herself. That will also deplete her. And I want to see her on her own journey. Maybe write her own book, but that'd be more work. Just start doing more of her own work of trying to navigate this situation. It feels like by yourself. Okay, let's get more into the interview.
So then in the book you talk about,
I did
that.
you just used to be giving away stuff.
I gave away jury.
Money.
And
Jury
money,
cost so
yeah.
much. You know how much it cost for jury? Like
Yeah.
I gave away. I would give my friends jury, and like they know I went well, they'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
They
That's
take
why.
advantage of you.
I felt like damn. They know I was something's going on with me, but they'll take it. So like when I got out of jail, like I cut off all my friends, my old friends. I'm like damn, they were taking advantage.
I wonder what the psychology is behind that. Like, why when you go into an episode, you
Give
feel
away
like,
money, and I don't know.
You don't care.
Risky behaviors. You're not in your right, sound mind. And he talks about now understanding what his triggers are. She talks about understanding the different behaviors, social cues that she picks up on of like, oh, we're about to go through an episode. So you know what? Let me put some things in place. Cut off your social media because that feeds into it. And some people are like, that's so controlling. She shouldn't have to do all that. Like, why is he allowing her to do all that? She's protecting him. She is protecting him. And sometimes I think people need that added protection because they cannot do it on their own. And I think for the longest time, Gucci was doing it on his own. I don't know if he saw value in himself. And I think he needed her so that he could start believing himself. Now, when we think about schizophrenia, we think about their hallucinations, delusions, disorganized speech and behavior. Now, it doesn't look the same for everybody. Some people with schizophrenia have early episodes, probably around teenagehood, early adulthood. You might have a psychotic break. Something triggers you, an event, a situation that causes you to have maybe your first schizophrenic break. And even though you have that first break, you can, similar to Gucci, have a regular life through medication. And I appreciate him talking about being on medication. Because she said something, his wife said something about the medication, which I have said to so many of my clients. Because people are like, medication, taking it every day. How long will I have to take it? Will I really be on meds for the rest of my life? What will people think about me if I'm on medication? What is the difference between you taking Tylenol for a headache and you taking your antidepressant medication? It's okay for people to take Tylenol. It's okay to be on Wegovy and take them weight loss shots. But it's not okay for you to take medication for anxiety. It's not. What's the difference? You want the headache to go away and you want your anxiety to go away. So take the medication. You ain't got to tell everybody. There are so many people on medication who are not sharing it with you. The medication can be high blood pressure medication. It could be anxiety, depression meds. It could be OCD medication. But let's normalize that it's okay to be on meds, that it's okay to talk about these things. And I just enjoyed how raw and vulnerable he was in this interview. Envy was kind of annoying because he brought up some stuff that I think could have triggered him. Asking him, how do you feel knowing that so many artists like came up off you and are doing well and don't give you the credit, the praise, and how you could have been as big as Def Jam if it wasn't for you going to the hospital and it wasn't for your mental health. I'm like, why are you asking that? Are you trying to trigger this man? It just shows sometimes that envy is very uneducated. But thankfully, we had Lauren and we had Charlamagne. And Jess was not here. Because Jess would not have been a good person for this interview either. But, you know, sometimes all it takes is you deciding, along with support, I need help. And we have to get more comfortable with asking for help and not being fearful of the response and not being ashamed. I think also, I've been talking all day, y'all. I gotta do another video after this. I think for the longest time, shame really kept him isolated. And I don't think his wife gets enough credit for how well she was able to see past the BS. Keep him stable. She has a system in place that helps him stay stable and keep his mental health under control. She knows him so well that she's able to see the difference coming up. Now, I know it's ain't my Gucci, so I'm gonna leave you alone over there until my Gucci come back. The hurtful things you've said to me, all the things we've been through, I know that's not who I married. So maybe for the next week or two, we're gonna go through this, but my husband is gonna return. It's also that belief, believing in him, believing in us. I think sometimes people don't believe in us enough. And there is some comparison to Kanye and Kim. That maybe she should have stayed because, recently came out in an interview she did with Call Her Daddy, how he was going through episodes. But I think Kim is more concerned with her brand. And Keyshia even said that she reached out to, or she wanted to reach out to Kim during his episodes, but she didn't know her like that and didn't want to seem kind of, standish in her DMs. So she was trying to get some communication with her. But that's the biggest difference. Is that I think the Kardashians are more concerned with their brand and how Kanye could hurt the brand, his mental health, the things he was saying, and they really had no control over him. And I wonder if maybe Kim was a person who wasn't so invested in her brand and was maybe invested in him as a person. Maybe things could have changed. Maybe things could have been different. But at the same time, if a person feels like this is too much for me, we shouldn't judge them either. If they choose to leave and move on and say, like, you know what, I tried and your mental health issues were I just can't handle it. Doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a bad partner. It just makes you like, I just can't do this. It's not in me. It's not in me. But it's interesting to see the difference between Krishan and Blueface because there's a lot of mental health and trauma there. Kanye and Kim, and now Keyshia and Gucci. How all the mental health things, and it comes down to the people you have around you. Who's really there for you? Who's there for the fame? Who's there for the access? Who's there for the money? Are you invested in me as a person or what I can provide you with? What my brand and name can give you. Okay. But I loved how I'm continuing to see through this interview that the stigma is breaking and to come on a well-known public platform like the Breakfast Club and talk about having schizophrenia and the different episodes you have gone through and how you have been able to overcome your triggers, understand them, know the places you should be at, know the places you should not be at, and how sometimes his wife had to kidnap him and lock him in the hospital because he wouldn't go on his own. I don't know. Maybe sometimes that might be necessary. I don't know. But no one knows what they would really do in this situation until they're in it. People judge from the outside. Oh, I wouldn't stay. How could she still be with him? That's too much. Or I would stay. I would do the same thing. Some of y'all might be like, I've been through this. I'm going through this. Or it could be drugs. Your significant other is a user. A substance abuse user. You've been trying to work with them and stay. This is a different type of season in the marriage that nobody talks about. And that season might last for years. Okay? It lets you know that sometimes you will get thrown things in a relationship, in a marriage you didn't expect. But she saw it, she knew, and she was okay with it. And I'm sure there were so many people in her ear saying, "You sure you want to do this? You sure you ready for this?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got this." The strength of a woman, that backbone, will do wonders for you. Okay. But this was a great interview. Lauren asked a lot of great questions also. Developing trust, trusting past yourself, to have someone into your life and really be willing to help you. How many of y'all can feel like you have put ultimate trust in your partner and you believe that they will show up for you no matter what? Or is there a part of you that's still wondering if it's really real and if they'll leave me one day, if they found out the truth about who I am as a person, my traumas, the mental things that go on in my mind, would they really stay? Okay. But this was a good interview. I really enjoyed it. Let's continue to break the stigma. I want more conversations about Black men healing, being open and honest about living with bipolar disorder, living with schizophrenia, living with depression. It doesn't have to be a secret. It doesn't have to be a mark on your forehead, a scarlet letter. It's something you are living with. It doesn't define you as a person. You're living with it. There are skills, tools out there. Go to therapy. Open your mind about medication. It could change your life. Don't be scared. Okay? Make sure you hit that like. Y'all subscribe. Do all I do support this channel. Let me know your thoughts. Is the world really ready for these conversations? Are they really ready? Okay? And I will see you guys next time. Bye.